Welcome to the Primal Show with today's guest, Marc Lobliner, and Gary Collins in the red shirt. Marc Lobliner is from tigerfitness.com. We're really excited to have him on. He and his website are bringing on our paleo protein bars. We're really proud to have them on there. We think they're great for bodybuilders that are really looking to get lean and shredded, and also have overall optimal health. The ingredients are ideal for that. So thanks for coming on the show, Marc. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your background and what you think about paleo.
Well, thanks for having me. You know, the bottom line is I've been in the industry a long time. I started a company called Scivation back in 2004. I sold it in 2011. Before then, I was with Weeder Publications, which is, Flex, Muscle Fitness, all those magazines. They were acquired by American media. So that's the whole entire, National Enquirer, Star, all the tabloids and stuff. So I was a little bit outside my realm there. But I made it work. Worked with Sylvester Stallone with InStone. And after I sold Scivation, I partnered up with tigerfitness.com. And here we are. And the thing I like about paleo dieting is, a lot of people tend to get caught up in processed foods. And processed foods have a lot of, well, I wouldn't say issues. There's a lot of unknowns with them. And one is that they don't fill you up when trying to diet. The thing about paleo dieting, the one thing you can't see people criticize is the fact that it's utilizing whole natural foods to hit your goals. I mean, that's the thing I like about paleo, is it's using foods that are closest to what they should be, not using processed junk and utilizing those in formulas. And that's where I think you guys have been able to make those into some of our favorite foods, but yet make it adhere to the paleo principles, which I don't think any other company's done. We were just joking around about a protein powder who put maltodextrin and called themselves a paleo protein powder. And I actually did a review on that. And I have nothing wrong with maltodextrin because, I'm not, for full disclosure, I don't follow paleo. I do eat a lot what would be considered paleo because I eat whole foods.
Right.
However, when I looked at this, I just can imagine a caveman running around looking for a maltodextrin tree. So I think you guys have done a better job than any other company in actually adhering to the principles and not mismarketing products, which that I applaud you for. So for the paleo base, obviously, I think you've done a better job than anyone. In fact, almost a perfect job in adhering to those principles.
Yeah, thanks. We really try hard because our goal is really to take mainstream, this mainstream diet that's just awful for people, that's packed full of, sucralose and sugar alcohols, and bring them over to the paleo way of eating because it's just better for your stomach. I mean, it's at the end of the day, the better your digestion is, the better your entire health and well-being is. And we try to choose ingredients specifically that are going to help your stomach feel better. And in turn, your body's going to feel better. You're going to have less inflammation. And that's really what paleo is all about, it's an anti-inflammatory diet. And I don't know, Gary, what do you think about, the paleo diet and achieving optimal health with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think it's just catching in the bodybuilding world. And for people like me and Heath, especially me, I come from the Arnold and Franco Columbu days. That's what I grew up on. I played sports, and, those guys actually preached something fairly close to paleo back in the day. It was eating, whole foods and not using a ton of supplements. And, obviously they did. You have to. If you're in bodybuilding, you can't get away without using supplements. It's just the protein intake and getting your macros. It's almost impossible. But with that being said, I mean, paleo it's an anti-inflammatory diet. I think some bodybuilders are catching on, especially on the natural side, that you can stay lean all year long and not have to cut so much. Yeah. I think that's the benefit they're seeing is, okay, I don't have to spend 30, 35, 45 days cutting down. I can actually spend 7 to 10 days and I'm right where I need to be. So I think that's a benefit. It's interesting how paleo works. So the CrossFit, I'd like to ask you this, Marc. CrossFit and bodybuilding definitely don't get along is the best way I can put it. There's
I think
blogs and stuff of battles and funny pictures of a skinny pencil neck guy who they say CrossFit, and then they show a bodybuilder yoked out and looking good. And I just was curious where that all stems from, because I'm more on the bodybuilding side myself.
Well, I'm a pro bodybuilder, a very bad one at that. But Nonetheless, I like CrossFit. I like anything that gets people active. I like jazzercise. I like plyometrics. I like anything that gets fat people off their asses.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to state that for the record. The reason I don't like CrossFit is because 70%, according to the latest research, 70% of people who participate in CrossFit get injured. 10% of those 70% require surgical intervention.
Yes.
I think that there's a lot of good CrossFit instructors, but just like when you go to LA Fitness or 24 Hour Fitness, most of the trainers suck. And when you're dealing with high impact snatches and cleans and jerks, no, I'm not talking pornography. I'm talking about CrossFit. And I think when you get into those kind of lifts, your chances of getting injured are very high. And that's my issue with CrossFit. You give me a good CrossFit instructor, I'll tell you to go do CrossFit. Now, for hypertrophy, obviously lifting heavy ass weights for progressive overload is going to be your best way to build muscle. So bodybuilding is the best still for building lean mass and losing fat, in my opinion. However, if you enjoy CrossFit as your activity, do it. Now, the reason bodybuilders and CrossFitters don't get along, I think CrossFitters came on the scene and you had a lot of disenfranchised people who went over to that side who just dissed the other side. It's kind of like, it's kind of like my team's better than your team. I just think it's human nature. And then bodybuilders, being the narcissistic bastards we are, we shot back and said, hey, you're small. And so that's where I think it came in. Now, CrossFitters adapted, I think, better than bodybuilders. Paleo, however, if you look at old school bodybuilders, you're talking about like Arnold and Franco, paleo is essentially an extreme version of what we call bro dieting, which is eating your chicken, your rice, and your whole natural foods. Now, the reason I think paleo, you talk about staying lean year round, we know that once it's eaten, a calorie, you're pretty much your caloric balance is the key to fat loss. But what paleo dieting does is its volume. Is obviously you try getting obese eating only chicken and oatmeal, it's damn near impossible. But if I give you a diet full of protein powder and Pop-Tarts, you get pretty damn fat.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's understanding, and that's why I tell people who are some of the paleo people I've talked to about bodybuilding, because I apply those principles to my clients and people I train. Is your typical, compound movements. And I have to explain them to them, and they're all, well, can I do snatches? And I'm all, no. Have you ever done them before? And they're all, no. Do you know what one really is? No.
Yeah.
I go, well, you're not a power lifter, so we're not going to go there. Let's leave that alone. And people don't understand, even football in high college and high school football and even pros now, they're getting away from all the powerlifting because of the injuries. They're actually they're getting away from even doing squats a lot of times. It's amazing how it's switched. Yeah, and even athletes are getting away from this stuff. So I get it. It's an interesting dynamic, but I'm just not a big fan of powerlifting as a tool to be used all the time. Because the repetition, the breakdown, and if you're just slightly out of form, the injury could be catastrophic. Not a tweak. It could blow a disc out, could blow a knee out, blow an elbow, wrist. I mean, it's bad injuries.
Yeah, that's why I say if you have, you're teaching a group of 20 people how to do a snatch in a day, not possible. Yep. Mastering a lift like that takes weeks, months, and even then you're not a pro at it. So, I'm looking at just long-term health. If you can master those lifts, if you can perfect the form, if you have a good personal instructor, CrossFit is great. However, that's the variable. And that's the same thing with weightlifting. You go to the gym. I saw a trainer today having someone do something that I'm surprised she didn't snap something up. So it goes both ways. You know what I mean? So I really think that if people really, really want to get results, find something you love and become a master at it, or do multiple things.
And what percentage would you say is diet versus working out? Because, obviously that's a controversy. It's like, I personally think it's at least 70-80% diet, 20-30% working out in terms of getting the results in the gym, it's so many people don't adhere to some sort of diet, or they're onto the latest fad, which is like, low carb, keto, this. But at the end of the day, what we found is it really comes down to calories. And making sure you're taking in calories from the proper sources of food. Would you agree with that?
In my opinion, it's 100% of each. Diet is Diet's what you live. That's going to determine. Like, you can have the same training program, and you just switch your diet, and you can either lose fat or gain lean mass, or you can train every day and eat like a slob and look like a slob. Whereas training is the catalyst to everything. Training induces the damage, the trauma that requires rebuilding from your diet. So I think one without the other just isn't going to work. So I don't like to put percentages on it. I like to say they both play a role in the overall, result. So I like to say they're both 100%.
I got an interesting question for you. You obviously sell a lot of supplements at tigerfitness.com.
Yeah.
And, as we're all, getting older, and after the age of 30, our testosterone and stuff starts to dip down and stuff. And there's so many supplements that are making claims and promises. Have you seen, or do you sell any supplements that base the nutritionals on actual blood work for increasing testosterone? Have you, trying to do it naturally? Because we obviously all know, yeah, sure, we can take, hormone replacement therapy and, go to the doctor and get blood work done and boost our testosterone levels, that way. But from a natural point of view, is there any supplements out there that are really on point? Because they're hard to find and they're all over promising and under delivering.
Yeah.
The one ingredient that we've had come to us is T-aspartic acid. And I've actually seen blood work from someone who took Barracuda from MTS Nutrition that, his results, he went from 600 to 1,000.
Oh.
It was profound. Wow. But you're looking at a 40% increase in testosterone over 8 days, over 8 to 12 days. That's a phenomenal increase, but it's not steroid-like. People are looking for steroid-like gains, right?
Sure.
Now, 40% means that if you're at 100, which is low, you're going to get to 140. Okay, whatever. If you were to inject steroids, which we're talking natural, you go from 100 to 7,000. So that's the difference. It's going to give a good, modest, probably a nice, energetic feel. Is it enough to aid in lean mass? I think that it's all the sum of the parts, So if your test is on point, your nutrition's on point, it's going to help you be in more of a favorable atmosphere to gain lean mass. Is it enough to put lean mass on its own? Are you going to say, yeah, I gained 4 pounds on that? No. But it's going to put your body in a favorable position to gain lean mass. I never make claims like this pill does this.
Sure.
Or this does this. Because there's nothing that does it without. Nothing works unless you do.
Sure.
And that's our tagline. And it's so true.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't overpromise. And if you call our customer service and you ask how to gain weight, first thing we're going to ask is, what are you eating?
Sure.
You call any other website, they're going to be like, take X, take this, take that. Yeah. Or not X like ecstasy, but, take product X. Just want to clarify for the listeners. So, the bottom line is, we try to make sure that we don't misrepresent the power of supplements.
It was interesting. I called bodybuilding.com and I asked them the same question. I said, what do you guys recommend for natural testosterone? Because I was actually going to the doctor, monitoring my own blood work, and I was trying to get into the high 8s, and which is, that favorable condition for building lean muscle. And the guy's like, well, I don't really have anything for you, and I don't really personally know because I have replaced my testosterone, using a doctor. So he had no advice whatsoever.
Said that?
Yeah, didn't talk about.
That's awesome.
And at least he was honest. I'm going to give him that.
I'll give him that, but what kind of customer service?
Yeah.
So, that's a true story. It happened 2 months ago. I'm like,
it's like, bro, just go get some steroids.
Well, and I think that's a big problem with the supplement market in general. Is that I think we all do a poor job of explaining. I try my best to explain to clients that, hey, it's a supplementation. You're supplementing your natural food source. That's what we're trying to do. The results you're going to get are not going to be some phenomenal result. I'm not going to promise you anything. Over the long term, if you continue to take these supplements that you're deficient in, I usually call them my backbone supplements or my my core supplements, vitamin C, multivitamin, the basics, fish oil. I go, what it will do long term is it will help you, but are you going to turn around in a week and go, holy cow, man, I lost 10 pounds, I'm yoked, I got total mental clarity, got a job promotion? No, that's what everyone expects. And I think if people are honest with them and just say, hey, it's a supplement, it will help you. But long as you understand that it's just going to help a little bit, or depending on the condition, I just don't know. I mean, people just want such fast, quick results
Well,
and
it's
expect.
our fault though. It's our fault because
Yeah.
for marketing to sell stuff, we've made some promises that just they insult me as a human being. The stuff that's said, and the fact that we've had products that have spiked them with drugs, and I mean, the supplement industry is doing a good job of getting the government on our butts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody complains about government intervention. It's our fault. We just had Craze pulled off the market for putting amphetamines in it, and now they're coming out with a Craze V2.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Europa's picking it up, and I'm like, are you guys idiots? We're not going to carry it.
Yeah.
We will not carry anything by Driven Sports.
And that's what
we are the ones who tested. We tested that product, and we found the ETH in it. There comes a time when you have to take a stance, and I'm not going to support a company who will put drugs in unknowing consumers' bodies.
Yeah.
Well, people failed workplace drug tests because of those bastards.
Well, athletes too. Remember, because athletes would always get popped for PEDs, and that people would be all, oh yeah, right. They didn't know. And I used to. I don't know if you know. I used to be a special agent for the FDA, so I've investigated spikes.
I need to talk to you.
Exactly. And
I figured you guys would like each other.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not. I'm on a totally different mission now in life, but. With that, I mean, I walked into places. I walked into a pretty well-known supplement guy in the bodybuilding world. He was doping his supplements, and he told us, well, we busted him for steroids.
Wow.
But we walk in, he was bottling it in his friggin' garage.
Well, you remember Pharmagenics, Fentanyl? They got popped for clenbuterol.
Yep.
I actually testified at that grand jury. I helped put him away in jail. He actually told, I was in his warehouse, I was in his manufacturing facility. He showed me the clenbuterol.
Oh, jeez.
It's insane. And they don't think anything of it. And you're right. And I tell people, because they think I'm just some total hard ass, that I'm out there and I just want to, I'm all, no. I'm in the supplement business too now. I mean, I'm on the other side and I sell products, and I go, I would never do anything like that because it makes us all look bad, first of all. And it only takes one. Yeah, and these guys are just knuckleheads doing this stuff, thinking they're going to get away with it. And how many people have they either severely damaged physically or killed that we just don't even know about?
Oh, it's just like, I mean, how many people have we, like, look at Craze with the ETH, how many meth addicts have we put back into rehab?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think about how profound that is, yet they do it for the money.
Yep.
It's I could not look my kids in the eye and do that.
No, well, and it's just kind of I'm kind of on the self-sufficiency survivalist side too.
Yeah.
Kind of do that stuff as well. I'm a little odd bird.
Yeah, you are. I wouldn't do that. I like hotels.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
It's just society in general. We just lost our way. I was talking in an interview earlier this week about those guys who got lost out at sea for like 9 months before they found him, and they said cruise ships were going by and they were shooting flares and they could see him. They just kept right on going.
Wow.
I mean, and one guy died after these cruise ships had gone. It wasn't just one cruise ship; it was multiple.
Wow.
And I went, this is where we are at society today. Anyone who would dope supplements willingly and knowingly and think that's okay, that is insane to me.
Whatever happened to just beating someone up for that? I mean, they just need to be beaten.
Well, that's the problem too. Is we're too touchy, soft. Oh, poor Jimmy. I know he doped the supplements, but he didn't mean to.
No, he meant to. And this the guy who owns Driven Sports has actually been to jail for distributing DNP.
Oh, wow.
And a 14-year-old girl died. Her insides burned.
What?
And yet he's still in the industry. He's still here.
That's insane. Yeah, you wonder how this happens, but that's why I'm glad there's people like you around. And like me and Heath, we take our stuff pretty seriously. Yeah. We don't want to ever harm anyone and by anything we do.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about getting results, and finding supplements like D-aspartic acid is a great natural supplement. But I went to the head of endocrinology at Kaiser and I asked him, I said, what's the best way to boost testosterone naturally? He said, honestly, just lose the fat.
Yeah.
To eat greens, go, have your broccoli, drop your estrogen levels down, and just do your cardio and burn the fat off. And guess what? Your testosterone levels come back. You start taking some D-aspartic acid, or we like a Tonkat Ali, and you boost up your natural testosterone. The lean muscle will come on, and you don't
drop the cortisol levels. It's pretty simple. Drop your cortisol levels.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Talk about broccoli. Broccoli's high in diethylmethane,
Yeah.
which is an anti-estrogen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
why
look at that.
that's the other thing too is there's all these testosterone boosters, but a lot of them don't have an anti-estrogen component. They're starting to, but it's so important because what happens is you boost your testosterone, your estrogen level goes up.
Yeah.
You start getting puffy and you start gaining fat for no other reason than your testosterone levels boosted. So
Start crying during like children's movies.
it's
Your nipples itch. You're just a mess.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. Mark? What is the magic number? I don't know if there is one, but far as blood level testosterone to boost it to where you can go into that kind of anabolic mode and where you can actually build more muscle, then your body kind of will find its homeostasis.
It just depends on the individual. I mean, some get by. I mean, 500 to like somewhere naturally in the 1,000 range. It just depends on the person. I mean, theoretically, as long as you're adequate within that normal range, you should have around the same advantage as someone who isn't. Like I know with HRT, they try to get you in between the 800 and 1,200 range.
yeah.
So I'd say that if that's what they're trying to replace you to, that's pretty much where you want to be. Like
Okay.
you're talking about high 800s.
Okay. I was always wondering because I'd never heard of a good number.
That's where
You know,
that's the max on the Kaiser testosterone is 850 or something like that.
Wow.
it tops out. So, but and it's hard to get there naturally into that 800 range. It is. It's really hard.
Well, especially
A
at
lot of
you age.
genetics, a lot of stress factors, a lot of variables. I mean, if you have kids, you're not going to get up to 800.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have kids and I can't get up to 800 either, but I'm getting old is the problem. I mean, I think for me, 30 was I started noticing at 30, but 40 is where it really hit me. That's when I went,
Thanks. I
whoa,
have something to look
things are
forward to.
very, very different now. And yeah, it's a struggle. You go, God, I'm more tired. Working.
I'll tell you what, though, in this industry, like with my, I don't know what to call them, like subscribers, fan base, whatever you want to call them. I'm an old guy at 34, which is just profound. I don't see 34 as old,
No.
but I guess compared to a 22-year-old, I am.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, physically it's night and day.
Oh God, I mean, I woke up this morning and until I got to the gym, my body was like, it didn't want to move. I was like, what do I do? I actually have to train in the morning just to function.
Yeah.
I do too. That's why I train in the morning too. It gets me going. If I don't work out in the morning, I notice the whole day is kind of just blah. I can't just get it going. I just kind of stumble through the day.
It looks like we're getting old, bro.
It sucks.
As long as there's Viagra, we're good.
Well, yeah, just don't buy it from the Canadian pharmacies. That's another thing I tell people. I used to investigate that as well. Yeah, I used to be in
Canadian pharmacies. Now this is getting good.
Well, I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong. It's just one of those. It's a bad idea. We would test it, and it would be anywhere from have 10% of the active ingredient to 10,000%.
I want the 10,000%.
Well, I don't think people do. Those are the ones that have to go to the doctor, and they have to wear
erection.
and little, and then they got to inject them, and yeah, I've heard it's very, very painful. So that'd be a lesson to all you guys out there. Get Viagra from a trusted source. Don't
trust Canadians.
Well, the Canadian pharmacies are built that way online. It's not a legitimate pharmacy sometimes. Well, a lot of the time. You're just getting it. It's all counterfeit.
I'll just go to Mexican pharmacies.
Well, you'd have better luck doing that. And some of when you go to the internet, that's just...
Yeah, the internet, you never know what you're going to get. Well, except at TigerFitness.com, right?
I'm talking pharmaceutical drugs. You don't have a prescription for it, and you're going buying it online. That's just common sense, That's probably not a good decision.
I hear you on that. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's always like one of those things. Like, it's really interesting to hear you from the FDA because, we always look at like the GMPs, and I think they're a good thing, but people should have been following them years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been following them since I started.
It should be an industry standard. I mean, for me, the supplement, that's what I mean. In the supplement side, we do a lot of harm to ourselves by stupidity. We don't even set our own standards. There should be a standard that everyone has to follow across the board. You can't be a supplement company and produce supplements unless you meet this standard. And it doesn't have to be something crazy, but there has to be some kind of overall certification that shows that someone comes in and looks around and goes, okay, and you pay for it. You go and you pay them $1,000 or whatever. They certify that you're not making your supplements in the garage like my boy was, and dumping steroids in them at the same time. And just something simple. And I think it would help us out a lot. Get some of the heat off us if we self-regulate better.
Self-regulation is key.
Yeah. Because
really
that's what people understand about the supplement industry too. Is it's regulated, but very loosely. And people, the unethical people, it's a gold mine for them. I've known people who were in the pharmaceutical drug industry turn around and go in the supplement industry because there's no risk. Their odds of going to jail are slim to none, and they can do the same crap they were doing in the pharmaceutical industry and the supplement industry and just not get caught.
It's profound.
I
It really is.
I think that's one of the reasons why, really excited to have you on is because you do the reviews. You're honest in the reviews, and you have so many videos, and you're one of the few that are actually doing it right, because a lot of people are just putting out whatever is new, the hottest thing, and that's great. You take the time to actually go through it, and you listen to your customers, and you're watching out for them. That's pretty huge.
Do you take all the products that you put on? I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, you have a huge website.
No. There's 10,000 of them.
Yeah. But I mean, back in the day when you first started, would you sample everything you could?
I'm very, generally speaking, I try certain things, but I mean, I can normally look at ingredients and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like if there's a hot new ingredient, I'll try it. But generally speaking, there was one point, it's died down, thank God, because the minimums to run a pre-workout, and they were pretty low cost, were pretty low. So there was at one point, I was getting literally 50 new pre-workouts sent to me a week.
Oh, geez.
If I took one serving of each of those a week, I'd be dead. I mean, my adrenals would fall out.
Yeah.
So I came to a point where I'll look it over and I'll send it to someone else to try. But generally speaking, I mean, with an internet site, you have to carry things even you don't like. You know what I mean? Like people are like, well, I thought you didn't like this. Why don't you carry it? There are times we'll draw a line, like with the HCG supplements, the HCG enhancers, the
drops,
amino acid drops. We pulled those before the FTC sued them, just because I thought they were douchebags.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, there's only about 5 to 10% of our products that I'd even consider loosely recommending. I mean, but as a retail store, I always make this analogy, like Walmart, the buyer in the bathroom department, right? I'm sure the buyer does not like single-ply toilet paper. And I'm sure he doesn't use it himself. But as a retail store, it's his job to carry an assortment for his consumers based on consumer demand.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have to carry things that we might not be 100% cool with, but through our reviews and through our customer service, we're able to recommend good products.
That's cool.
That we believe in.
And you guys have your own private label too.
Well, I own MTS Nutrition. That's kind of our house brand. It's also distributed elsewhere, but essentially it's mainly a protein brand. So, I mean, it fulfills a demand for whey.
Okay.
And that's what it's there for. But that's something, we believe in, obviously recommend. And you need a differentiating factor within a retail store. And honestly, when I left Scivation, I had a 2-year non-compete that I couldn't sell mass market. And I abided by that, but I could have a house brand, and that MTS at that time was simply a Tiger Fitness house brand. So, that's where that came about. But yeah, we do have our own house brand, so to speak. But at the end of the day, Walmart also has Equate.
Sure.
Costco has Kirkland. We're a retail store. We carry a lot of different brands. It's up to the consumer to decide which one works best for them. So obviously for the paleo market, if someone's going for paleo, we're not going to recommend them something with gluten in it.
Right.
We're going to recommend what works best for them and their needs.
And can you speak a little to the recent controversy over a lot of the protein bars on the market being like basically stuck, like packed full of collagen and like other, they're not entirely, the full amino acid profile that they need to have. Have you seen a lot of that lately? Because it seems to be hitting the news kind of right now.
Well, I mean, we just did an article on beef protein, and I'll send it to you after this, but it's basically made out of cow hooves and butt.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it's disgusting, beef protein, and it's collagen. And bars have always been filled with collagen. You look at these liquid shots, they're collagen, and that's not good protein.
Right.
it's not like appetizing. It's cow hooves. So yeah, I mean, with bars, collagen, the beauty of it is it's gelatinous, man. It's beautiful to cook with,
Right.
and it makes bars nice and juicy and moist, and doesn't make them dry. And so when you use collagen, you're making yourself a delicious bar. But it's not something that someone would knowingly be like, "Yay, I'm eating cow hooves." So that's why with bars, I mean, people always go for taste, but I'm a really bad pro athlete. But when I eat for a reason. And I tell people, like, if you're fueling your body, if you're going to go for taste, don't eat a protein bar, eat a piece of pizza. But if you're going for performance and results, there are other bars out there, like your bar, with the ingredients, that's going to give your body more of what it needs than a collagen-based yummy candy bar.
Right, and but I guess what I'm getting to is a lot of the bars out there are saying that they're full of whey, and they're actually pumping them full of collagen to basically offset their cost of the bar, to drive the whole cost of the bar down there. It's basically cheating people out of the protein that has a full acid.
It's nitrogen spiking. It's been going on forever. It goes on in human food, dog food, you name it. It's been in the industry a long time. That's how that Farina case where it killed all the dogs and pets, well, that was basically, they were protein spiking.
Yeah, look up my amino spiking video where they were actually putting free-form amino acids. Whey protein is expensive. I know I make it.
Sure.
It's extremely expensive. Collagen is free compared to whey.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're able to bring your margin to the bar, and bars, as you know, are very low-margin items.
Yeah, they are.
They suck. Why do you think I don't make a bar? And more power to you for getting into the bar market. I'm not man enough to get into the bar market. To get in the bar market, if you can bring your costs on a bar down even 20 to 30%, I mean, and you're moving a volume type bar, I mean, that's profound.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to use egg white protein, because a lot of people have allergies to obviously dairy. In general, but we used egg whites because we feel it's the most bioavailable form of protein, maybe outside of like the beef albumum, which is actually in one of our bars. Our chocolate mint bar uses pure beef albumum from ProLiant. It's the highest grade beef serum on the market. And between the egg white and the beef in our bars, we really cover both markets, because some people have allergies to beef also.
Yes.
But you're right, it's really expensive. We ran into tons of problems, and we were able to resolve all the problems finally. Our bars taste awesome, and they're good for you, and we're not, sticking them full of collagen. They have full egg white protein in there. I mean, I think it's the best quality protein you can find on the market.
Bars are tough. Awesome. They're tough.
Speaking of allergies, I just found out today my daughter went to an allergy doctor. That's why I was a little late. Yeah. She's allergic to dust. What the hell do you do for that one? Put her in a bubble?
You got to cover all. You got to get all the. We have that for my daughter also. All the dust covers for the pillows, and you have to put them on it. Allergy medicine usually, or some of it can be controlled through food too, which will help improve their immunity.
Yeah, we're onto that as well. But yeah, I mean, the more we can do to support brands that care about the consumer, and we're doing that now with HPN. All of this stuff is safe for sport. I mean, we're getting with good brands. So, I mean, we're just doing our best to promote good brands who want the best for the consumer. And as a site, we can influence sales. And that's what we're working on now. And obviously, I'm really glad we hooked up and we're able to, first of all, we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
As far as what we value in our business and with our consumers. And that's key. And a lot of what we do, even though I'm not full paleo, at the end of the day, any bodybuilder getting ready for a show, like, I'll tell you what, the week of a show, I don't eat wheat because it's allergenic. I go for hypoallergenic foods like brown rice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I've been doing for years. I'm a little bit of an advanced bro. So, I mean, I do see if you also, I mean, like, I work with my buddy, Dr. Stu. He's big on, if you have inflammation issues, first thing he does takes wheat out of your diet. So your stuff would work well for someone like him.
Right.
So it's a very no matter what your opinions on the diet is, you can't argue with, if you actually get the messaging right in the food choices, you can't argue with that. There's no argument other than Pop-Tarts are tasty.
And no, just
it's like anything though.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's like anything, paleo, anything, supplements. It's changed so much. It's bad information. It's just like bodybuilding gets bad rap for certain groups because of bad information.
Yes.
Paleo gets a bad rap from bad information.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And that's why I respect Mark, is you're honest. Anyone who knows me and sees my interviews, I'll blast someone. If I think they're an idiot, I'll tell them they're an idiot right to their face.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem is it's about getting your information from the right source. That's what I always tell people. There's a million supplement companies. There's a million people who sell products. You got to find the person and company you're comfortable with, that you feel is doing the right thing. And it doesn't have to be my company. It could be someone else's. I don't care. But make sure that you have that relationship. And that's what I like about you is you work really hard in doing that to make sure that, you're not blowing smoke up people's asses. I mean, you just tell them exactly how it is.
It gets me in trouble a lot, but nonetheless, it's just one of those things where I think at a certain point in your career, and again, we're getting old, you just get past that whole like intimidation and fear, and you're like, this is what I want to do. And it's amazing because once you start acting like that, you obtain more success because I think people respect where you come from. And even if they don't agree with you, they respect the fact that you've formed an opinion and you've presented it in an articulate way.
Yeah, and to that point, Julian Bakery is one of the only companies out there on the market who actually post all of our lab tests online. People can go and see the full breakdown of everything. We do our due diligence because if you're on a diet or you're looking to look a certain way, you have to trust in the macros.
Yeah.
And we adopted that principle 4 years ago. We just test everything. Why not?
To label.
It's $1,000 to test. Why not spend it and just be done with it?
Amen.
Yeah. I guess
it is. I'll tell you what, the amino acid panel is like 1,500. That one I cry every time.
Yeah.
That one I shed a little tear of joy.
Yeah. No, it is painful, especially when we have like over 35 products now. So. Yeah,
that's 30. I mean, you're immediately boom, 35 G's.
Yep. And it's worth doing though, and why not?
It is.
And we do it for our customers, and our customers are getting great results. We're happy to have our product on your site. We're really looking forward to a long relationship there. So
we'll go ahead and we'll get this up, and I want to actually anything we can do as far as content. We really want your information up there because obviously you're what you do is something we want to expose our readership to.
Yeah, thank you. We have tons of information we can pass your way, so it's very
much appreciated.
Yeah, everybody, make sure you visit Marc and his site at tigerfitness.com, and we want to thank you for coming on today. And we'll post a bunch of links in this video. We'll put it all over the place for you, Marc, and we'll let everybody know that our product's on your site.
Thanks a ton, sir. Much appreciated.
All right, thank you.
Take care, Marc.
Take care.